So there are three options for how to lease this fiat here. And you can, depending on what your down payment is, 2,500, 3,500, or 6,500, you have different monthly payments. And your monthly payments go down the more you increase your down payment. So how could you model that? Well, if you make a chart of that relationship, the down payment across the x-axis and the monthly payment across the y-axis, you could plot a couple of those points that I have here. And so, for instance, if you wanted to know, say I was going to put 5,000 on it as a down payment, what would be my monthly payment in that case? Well, you could kind of eyeball it and estimate that your 5,000 is halfway between 3,500 and 6,500. And so if that's a linear relationship, that decrease, then your monthly payment would be halfway between 149 and 69, which would be $109 in down payment. So, but now, what if you wanted to make a more advanced model, actually make an equation of that, then we could figure out what the slope is between those two lines. And the slope would be that up here, the rise over the run. The rise is 69 minus 149, which means it actually the monthly payment goes down $80. When your down payment goes from 6,500 to 3,500, which is an increase of $3,000. So that slope becomes negative 80 over 3,000 is negative 0.0266. Negative 0.0266 what? Per what? So slopes are always something per something else. They're always a ratio like that. And so that's $0.26 in monthly payment per dollar in down payment, which is kind of awkward to say. And so maybe an easier way to say that, and one thing we'll talk about in class is how to say this in a more practical way. Your payment decreases $26.67 per $1,000 in down payment. Nobody's gonna, per dollar increase in down payment isn't a practical unit to use because it makes the decreases in your monthly payment really small. So you can adjust these to a more practical situation. And so you could say for every $1,000 more in down payment, your monthly payment decreases by $26.67. You can also make then a linear equation based on that. And we're going to talk about this. This is in the form y equals y1 plus mx minus x1. When we have a slope of m and some point, a starting point for our model, for our line, at the point x1, y1. So if we use the point 3,000 down payment, 3,500 down payment, and 149 monthly payment as our key point, we know if we move to a value of x, which is x minus 3,500 is how far we've moved away from that starting point, that's the x minus x1, we multiply by 2 cents, $0.0266, for every unit we move away from our starting point, our starting value of x. And so we have 149 minus the rate times how many steps, how many dollars we've increased our monthly payment, our down payment. So you can get an equation like that. And so if I plugged in 5,000 into that equation, I could find out what this model says my monthly payment should be at that point. And it turns out, it's 109 because it's halfway. But we can also check and see what happens for the other point. And the other point in the other option for our lease was $2,500 down payment gives a 169. But this model gives 175. So you can check that red dot, that extra dot on the right in here, for the third option of the lease is a little bit below the predicted line based on the other two. So those three lease options aren't really in a linear relationship. There's some, I don't know why the fiat chose to have those values, but our linear relationship says from our starting point of 3,500, if we decrease by 1,000, we should go up by 26 in our monthly payment, because every time we increase our monthly payment, our down payment by 1,000, we should decrease the monthly payment. So then you go in the opposite direction if you decrease the down payment. So you can check that these 3 data points aren't really a linear equation. They're close, but maybe there's something else going on, and I'm not sure what would happen. For instance, if we extended this model back here, if we had 0 down payment, if we didn't put anything down, would our monthly payment be around 300? I don't know how the lease options work, but that's what this model would indicate.